Hey down here with Wayhaven Chronicles Book 1 by Mishka Jenkins. Now this is hosted games, one of the types of games you can find on the Choice of Games site. This one is still work in progress. I'll leave a link in the description to the game site and to the Tumblr of the game maker, the creator, the writer. So the Wayhaven Chronicles Book 1. The first case as detective is forcing you to open your eyes to a world bigger than you thought. But maybe it is better to keep them closed. Knowing too much doesn't help anyone sleep at night. Seems the supernatural didn't get the memo that nothing exciting ever happens in the little town of Wayhaven. The Wayhaven Chronicles is a series of interaction fiction books with a focus on characters, romance, and relationships. Focus will be romance heavy. I hope you enjoy it. Actually, have had scribbles, scribbles, uh, annoying me with this game for a while. I haven't really gotten around to play it until now because the character I usually use to play games really does not fit into the being a detective. So I'm actually going to use another one, which I do think will fit this better, hopefully. So let's continue. In a lab somewhere in the city. Moonlight slices through the beakers on the top of the laboratory counter, 100 shafts of light bouncing off the pristine polished surface. That lines of glass tubes held in stark white, curtains are peeled on the center island. Dr. Ethan Murphy enjoys the small space of his lab when he has worked hard on making it his home. He is grateful for the comforting quiet it brings and was at that moment even more thankful for the size of the large counters, able to fully hide his crouched, shuddering body as he hunches behind it, hiding his lip to stop his thundering breath giving away his position. Toot Dr. Murphy, nobody likes a coward. The taunt is followed by his massive glass shards of the broken beakers glancing across the linoleum floor. Dr. Murphy squeezes his eyes shut and grips his knees closer to his chest. His teeth biting down into the bottom lip, hard enough to draw blood. The squeak of the intruder's shoes on linoleum stops, the air falling silent and heavy, pressing down like a weight on Murphy's tight shoulders. If you don't want me to find you, Dr. Murphy, you shouldn't make yourself so tempting. The voice echoes from nowhere, a hungry growl from the darkness. Murphy's eyes snap open as a warm drop of blood dribbles from his lip and soaks into his trousers. He swipes the blood from his lips and chokes back a sob. But it's too late. A hand lurches from the dark and snatches at Murphy, like claws around prey. Such an irresistible thing, don't you think? The man whispers. Oh, he was whispering. His face shadowed, but the glint in his eye is unmistakable. When his tongue laps over the swipe of blood on Murphy's hand, Doctor lets out a rant and tries to crawl back, yelling as the hand grips his tighter. The crack of bone perforates the silence. Dear, dear, it tugs on Murphy's mangled hand, dragging over the sleek surface of the lino. I don't want to break you, Doctor. Murphy is yanked up onto his feet, the intruder the same height as him, but appearing 10 feet tall in the gloom. Shh! He places a finger on the doctor's lip to stop the trembling cries, and then takes Murphy's hand in both of his, staring into his eyes with the intense, paralyzing gaze only a predator can achieve. Why don't you relax? The words reverberate like a haunting echo inside Murphy's head, mossing from one side of his skull to the other until he sways with dizziness. A spot of calm seeps from his head, down his neck, following his spine and right down to his toes, till he stumbles back from the suddenness of his muscles relaxing. Murphy smiles at the intruder and takes a deep breath. Much better, the intruder whispers, before plunging his teeth into Murphy's throat. Meanwhile, in Wayhaven, the crime scene is a wrangling mass of spectators by the time I arrive, even this early in the morning. People line the small hallway packed so tightly I can't believe they're able to breathe, let alone fight for space to see the end of the street. Arriving the engine of my better silver hatchback, there's little to gain anyone's attention. And I realize I can't park unless they move. Not wanting to be late for my very first case as Wayhaven's newly appointed detective, I Here we start getting choices. So depending on the choices, we'll get different text and we'll get changes to the stats. Right now we're all very blank and average. Now let's see the professional. Okay. We don't have a theme and relationship stats. Let's see. We're a detective and well, we don't really have anything here so far for now. Let's return to the game. So, we're trying to park, but you need the people to leave. So, I'm playing as Sam, one of my OCs that is a bit extravagant. So, let's see. Beat my horn at them, park where I am, lean out the window and order them to move, lean out the window and ask them to move. So, it's between beep, park, and order them to move. She's not gonna ask them, like, fuck them. Why are they just standing there? So she would just park where she is, like, screw this, I'm parking and leaving. So park where I am. Let's see the stats. Cautious? That made Sam more cautious. And more easygoing? I wasn't going with, I'm not going to bother the people. I'm gonna stand there. I was going with, screw this and just leaving it here. Okay, I did not like that. You know what? I'm going to restore the game. I do not like my kitty. I do not like these sets. I'm gonna restore it. So this is how you play this. You do a choice, and then you see that it wasn't really what you wanted, and you restore it. Okay, so this does have savings. I'm gonna save. Yes, are you sure you wish to save your game? The date in the selection slot will be overwritten. Yes, I want to save. Okay. Autosave successfully. Successful. Okay, so let's see the order them to move. That gave us friendly, but intimidating. Okay, I can live with that. Yeah, Sam is that's good for Sam, yeah. Okay. I rolled out the window of my car and balanced an elbow against the door so as I can lean out as far as possible. Hey, detective here, move yourself before I mow you down. My shot doesn't impart the quick motion that I'd hope, but the buzzing crowd does reluctantly part as I drive further down the hallway. Entering the park, I crank on the handbrake, trying to ignore the pain-crunching sound the car makes. Out of habit, I glance into the view mirror, quickly checking my appearance and bursting a hand over my... Here we go! So, ebony black hair, light brown hair, dark brown hair, mousy brown hair, light blonde hair, honey blonde hair, dark blonde hair, deep red hair, bright red hair, strawberry blonde hair. That's a lot of hair. So, light, honey, or dark? Okay, so my character is blonde. I just never really thought what type of blonde. I'm going with light blonde because it's blonde. Other than blonde, that's really just that's already too much. I brush a hand over my light blonde hair, figuring there is little else I can do to procrastinate and finally force myself out of the car. The chill air bites at my skin as soon as I step out of the warm comfort of the car and shove my hands into the pockets of my coat, shivering at the relief it provides from the sharp cold. Bugs may be clinging to the few stark trees lining the hallway, but it is far from spring yet. It looks as though most of Wayhaven has gathered at the scene, which is more likely true than not, considering the whole town consists of less than 1,000 people. As I step up to the blue and white striped barrier, I'm greeted by Officer Len, a part-time volunteer on the scant Wayhaven police force. I wonder for a moment if his hunched posture is from the grisly nature of the crime or just his advanced age. He looks up from his pad and I can almost hear the creaking in his bones at emotion. I wait as he speaks to greet me, his voice croaking out from his thin lips, partly hidden by his scraggly grey beard which matches the color of his skin. Finally he says, so here we can set the gender of our detective. We can be woman, man, or gender. It's credential Please, credentials, please, miss. I let out a long sigh. Are you really doing this, Len? You started working as a volunteer long after I was on the force. Sorry, but it's the mayor's orders, he replied. I'm hesitant to open my coat after just managing to get warm, but pull one side open to yank out my badge and ID. I hand it over, like not even glancing at it before handing it back. His eyesight might be bad, but even he cannot fail to recognize me. All good detectives step on through. I take back my ID and deep under the barrier, Lan is struggling to keep raised. As I move away from him, I glance down at my new ID. Detective, it's the first time I've been addressed that way by one of my colleagues. Still is strange to hear my new title. So, especially because I didn't even want the promotion. The captain forced it on me. I was so excited for the promotion, though I wasn't expecting it. Wasn't surprised by the promotion. I worked hard to get it. Didn't really want it, but I wasn't going to turn it down when offered. So, Sam. Sam wouldn't really need to be forced, I think. But she wouldn't have been working hard to get it. And she is the excitable type. So I can see her being excited, like, oh my god, really? You want me to be the detective? Seriously? Oh my gosh, Captain! Thank you so much! Yeah, that type of thing. I can totally be her saying that hyper. Mostly just because why not? That would be woohoo! Well, and she does not. She rarely misses an opportunity where she can be hyper and extravagant because he likes being the center of attention. So yeah, I'm going with. I was so excited for the promotion, though I wasn't expecting it. Actually, let me save just in case. If this game was actually finished and out on the Source of Game site, we would be able, or at least we used to be able, to open to double the tabs, so we could have a tab open and it would open in this particular spot of the story, and then I would be able to try each option individually. Like it is, if I try to do that, I'll just open a tab to the beginning of the game, unfortunately. Actually, one of the things that I miss the most when I'm playing demos and not fully released games. Let's see, stats. Intimidating, friendly. This stayed the same. Oh, we're a bit by the book, that's surprisingly. And here, the relationships. We got 2 for the police captain. Okay, no idea what that is. Okay, the promotion may have come as a surprise, but it was certainly a happy one. Even though there were whispers about the promotion only being given because the captain needed someone in the station of a senior position, so as he could go off and play golf with the mayor whenever he wants, I'm still proud. I smiled at the memory. Sid probably joined them for golf, like the captain would leave her in charge while he goes play golf, and she would just wait 5 minutes and then go after him and just so they're like, woohoo, hello, I decided to come join you. That or, oh, you are here also? Huh, how surprising. So that one was a bit of a missed one, Captain, but you know, anyway. My photo stares back at me from the ID pouch, and I glance over my details. My name's listed boldly at the top. Please enter your first name. None of these. Her name is Samantha. Actually, I forget if no, I. Yes, he does not have a double M. Yes, I forgot how to write my own character's name because she usually just goes by Sam. Your first name is Samantha, usually called Sam. Yep. And now for a surname. None of this. Samantha Maple. And again, this one spelling definitely didn't change because I can never remember if it only has 1 P or 2 P. Is that right? I think I don't know my own character's name, so yeah. Finally here then, Detective Maple. I glanced up at the sound of the familiar voice, a smile already on my face. Officer Tina Poname. strides toward me, my old partner grinning at me as she nears. Not much of a surprise you're all gathered here, she says, ushering to the crowd behind us. I look over my shoulder at the bustle of people, sunlight glinting off the phones held ready to take whatever pictures they can. This is probably the biggest thing that's happened for years, I reply with a shrug. She nods in response, brushing back a few brown curls that bob in front of her hazel eyes. I can't help but notice none of the fancy dancy silver spoons have bothered to show up. Her nose wrinkles as she speaks, the freckles splattered over her rosy cheeks more pronounced with the expression. I don't suppose they care what happens to us normal folk, as long as no one touches their mentions. But anyway, how's the first day of your promotion going? So, depends on how gruesome the murder is. I was hoping it will be quieter. I wish my career didn't start with a death. I'm pleased to be able to put my mind to something. Depends on how gruesome the murder is. Depends on how gruesome the murder is, I reply, stuffing my hands deeper into my pockets. She pursed her lips and sighs. Then it's going to be a terrible day, I'm afraid. It's that bad? I'd say so, but then I've never actually seen a murder before. See, there's the glance down the street at the scene, but it's all hidden by white-clad crime scene technicians. The tech all busy themselves, placing down yellow tags and measuring out every inch of space. There's the occasional bright flash as they take photos. Excuse me if I stops us before we move. I need to know what's going on, and I meant to know. Panomi's grip on her belt tightens. I let out a drawn breath. And the landlord of these apartments, the man, an older gentleman in a creased gray suit, sweeps an arm upwards at the soaring, crumbling building beside us. So, options here. Not exactly something to be proud of, sir. You're a businessman, not a policeman, so please stay back. The man will get you nowhere. Ignore him. Okay, gonna save. I'm gonna be saving whenever there's a help me a choice. Because there's no going back unless you save. Well, unless you want to restart the entire game. Not exactly something to be proud of, sir. It's a bit weird. I mean, it can. He's not a serial. He can't just know that someone's going to get murdered. So, I guess we could complain that maybe the security of the building wasn't that great, but I'm pretty sure it was a vampire who did this, so the guy couldn't really do much. So I demand, demand will get you nowhere. So I think Sam would either ignore him or do the man's thing. So I need to know if he had stayed here, like if he had just said to go, I need to know what's going on. I'm the landlord. She would say, yeah, please don't. Something more polite. So 80 minutes, so screw you. Demands will get you nowhere. Demands will get you nowhere. I replied, the man's face crunching into a knot of crimson anger. Demands won, but I guess I'll still have to deal with him. Paname says, laying a hand on my shoulder. But it's not your job to calm the riffraff anymore, detective. I throw her a grateful nod as she moves towards the landlord, with a stern frown. Her tall, statuesque figure is hidden behind a stiff and simply dark blue uniform. The pretty features contrast against the heavy belt and boots she wears. Jesus sakes, something. What happened? Still intimidating, less friendly. I'm not sure what the easygoing here was. Oh, a bit more passive. Oh, I think that must have been because of the because of the reply about how the work was going, I think. But yeah, like Sam would turn to him with a very big smile on her face, saying, "The man won't get you anywhere." Now, where were we? If I'd known her before becoming such good friends as partners. Oh, and here we decide our characters' sexuality, really. And Sam is Pan. So I might have made a move. I'm attracted to men and women. Also, depending on the character's gender and what we pick here, we get different vampires. The vampires change the gender according to our sexuality and our gender. I shook away the thought, turning to head towards the crime scene. It's not far before I stumble to a stop, holding up my hands to keep balance as a technician walks in front of my path. The woman clicks her tongue at me before continuing to bend down and retrieve a piece of trash, carefully storing it in a clear plastic bag and sealing the top. I move forward once more, my path like a dance, as I maze my way through yellow tags, disgruntled technicians, and avoid coming up against the wall. This liquid something I don't even want to think about. Thankfully, I make it past the busiest part to find Dr. Turner cross over the body. He looks up to me and frowns. Sorry, this has to be our first case, Samantha. Yeah, it's pretty amazing to think I delivered you as a baby and now here you are as a peer. His pride in me is dulled somewhat due to our meeting over that body. The gloomy light of the morning makes the grey pepper in your short-like hair seem lighter, the deep brown skin a little more aged than usual. A quiet punctuates the air between us, returns to looking over a still figure at his feet. Look closer at the body. Do you know who the victim is? Can they be covered yet? Give them a little peace. Sam would look. I look closer at the body, though I can't get a clear view of the victim as they're on their front. Hold on, I'll turn them over for you. Think the city boys are done, Turner says, and I note the glare he throws towards the crime scene tags. Wayhaven is too small and quiet a place for those types of people, so when a major crime happens, they are sent down to aid from the big city. It's the first time it's happened in my lifetime, and the city tags and small town people obviously aren't mixing well. Turner places his hand beneath the body, rolling them over onto their back. I wince a little at the dull thud that sounds as he topples over completely, reaction noted by the keen if aging doctor. Turner and I both lean to look closer. It's a woman. Lengths of blonde hair matted together and deep bruises marring a cold, freckled skin. Her eyes are thankfully closed, but it doesn't make her look peaceful. I scan, my gaze scans the woman, so I don't have to look far to find something unusual. On the length of her forehead, arms are deep, ragged gashes, the skin around the torn wounds, saying deep crimson and purple. Turn away from the wounds, clench your jaw and hold your gaze, continue looking without issue. That's a tough one. What would Sam be like? She wouldn't turn away from the wounds. Clench your jaw and hold your gaze, continue looking without issue. Sid continue looking without issue, I think. Let's see, how did that affect the help me stats? So these remain the same. Maybe it was something to do with the professional. I don't think it changed anything. Okay. Continue looking over the ones without issue, hoping they might reveal something. Braver than I was when I saw my first body, Dr. Turner says with a half smile. I just can't believe there's been a murder here in Wayhaven. My words come out in a confused mumble. I know what you mean. The last time there was violence in this town was back in my grandfather's day, he says, shaking his head, his thin-framed glasses wrinkling down his nose. He puts them back and shrugs. Can you give me time of death? That's not my call to make, he replies, whistling slightly into the woods. That's your man's job back at the lab. He doesn't bother to hold back his disdain in his voice, usually not pleased at having to give responsibility to another city boy. I'm only here to make sure the body is really dead. Make sure she is dead. She was a person, not just a body. Hopefully it won't take long to find out more about it. The quicker we can clear this up, the better. At least we can move her out of sight of that crowd. Make sure she is dead. Yeah. Make sure she is dead, I correct him. He frowns in confusion. Pardon? He was a person, not just a body. Turner nods and gives a warm smile of apology. Of course, you're right. He turns to face the text behind him, their mask-covered faces giving them an eerie look. You can take her away now. He then strides away down the street, where his black sports car is parked. Good luck with it all, Samantha. He calls back with a slight wave of his hand. Find out anything useful from the doc? Paname asks as she moves back to my side. We both watch for a moment as the text moves forward to throw a white cloth over the victim. We'll know more when Verda takes a look at her, I reply. Are you okay getting statements from the witnesses? Sure, she replies. I've already started on it. I give a nod of appreciation. Take Douglas from the station if you need help. I'd have better luck getting help from a parrot than that boy. He scoffs and moves away, a path flipped open in preparation. With the crowds, the technicians, and the sheer amount of rubbish still lingering in the hallway, I'm not sure how much more I can get from the crime scene, so I begin to head out the street and back towards my car. Officer Maper, I mean detective. My shoulders instantly hunch at the voice and roll my head from side to side to release the sudden tension, before turning to face the source of the call. Bobby Marks, why am I not surprised to find you here? Bobby, being the only journalist in the small town, lives on any kind of gossip he can hear, whether it be true or not. This is probably the closest to real news he's ever had. Bobby also happens to have a reputation as a giant pain in the ass. Still, as far as my relationship with him goes, I actually have uh, a drawing by Scribbles with her detective complaining, kind of, not really complaining, but more like trying to hide from Bobby because her detective, I do believe he slept with Bobby. Now, Sam, I'm going to go with she's only met him a few times. Like, my OC that's really not that great to play this game, he was friends with Bobby's before. I hear Scribbles detective was Bobby's ex-boyfriend, but Sam she has only met him a few times. And that way we have all three of the options combined. I've only met Bobby a few times, but I do know he uses bribes to find out extra information from some of our volunteers, as well as wrangling his way into people's personal lives to report to everyone in town. So it's a douchebag. So I don't really like people who are happy to spill out their secrets for profit. Knowing that he might pay doesn't bother me much. I can handle someone like Bobby, but I don't like having to. Bobby's just doing a job. Yeah, no. From the moment he bribes, he's a douchebag. Sam does not like him. I really don't like people who are willing to spill other secrets for profit, and Bobby falls exactly into that category. A professional relationship is not exactly friendly because of it. He grins at me as he approaches, his phone held out like a microphone. What's happening here? Can you tell me? No, I can't. I replied curtly. It would not be curtly. It would be just no. Pushing the phone back as he thrusts it closer. Nothing at all? No, nothing at all, I repeat, dipping beneath the barrier and heading for the sanctuary of my car. I marched the last few paces to my car and yanked open the door, sinking into the silent solace of the front seat. Nobody continued to shout muffled pleas through the window, so I turned on the radio, strapped on my seatbelt, and revved the engine loud enough no one will doubt my resolve to run them over if they don't move. The sea of spectators quickly part as I reversed out of the alley. It'll be a while before Solomover, the Wayhaven only pathologist, has anything to report, so I decide to take a quick brunch. I drive the car around to the swanky modern side of the town, the red brick factory that make up every foundation and building in Wayhaven, having all been giving a coat of fresh white or classy grey paint in this area. Tiny shops fronts line the streets, each with scripted, scrolling shop names running across the tops of the doors. The square is the center of this modern hub, and I pull up to park next to the bakery. Getting out, I try not to break my ankle on the aesthetically pleasing but treacherous cobblestone street. Thankfully, the wet, slushy blanket of leaves that covered the roads of Wayhaven have long ago been cleared away from the square. I doubt the leaves even had a chance to touch the ground before someone was plucking them up and trying them out. The bakery is surprisingly empty. And I stumbled to a stop inside the doorway. The swat of hot air, lined with the scent of fresh bread, embraces me. The scent of fresh bread is so awesome. Good morning, Samantha. Haley, the bakery owner, greets me with a grin. Her ivory shakes flushed red, a ring of white blonde hair, just visible beneath the red and white checkered chef's hat. What can I get you? I stare at the curved display and the pastry goodies spread behind it, the fresh warmth of them steaming the glass. So, that's the coffee, that's the cup of tea, that's the water, coffee and the pastry, tea and the pastry, water and the pastry, and it's coffee and pastry. Because Sam likes coffee. I'll have a coffee, please. My gaze flickers to the pastries. Their scent enticing me closer, in one of those. She gives a smile and turns to the counter behind. the bitter smell of coffee beans mixing with the pastries, making my stomach rumble. After a moment, she turns back and places down the paper cup and bag on the counter on the house. Are you sure? She nods. I heard you're gonna need it. What with that murder and all. She grimaces and waves her hands on her apron. Yeah, I guess word gets around quick, I reply. That shouldn't surprise you, she chuckles. It's worse than when we were in school. I nod in agreement. There's a saying in Wayhaven that if you don't know what's going on, you just have to ask the person next to you. Insular is an understatement. At least I know it's you out there protecting us, he says with a genuine smile. I gave a slow nod. I joined the police first because, and we're gonna save. This is when it was really worse for my other character because I want to help people and make them feel safe. That would be good for him, but he does not really want to be able to do it. He's tiny and weak. What is this sound? So, I wanted to help people and make them feel safe. It was the best career in Wayhaven that could put my mind to use. With my family so against the army, the police was the next best thing. I think this might have been Scribble's detective. Nothing happens in Wayhaven, it seemed like an easy job. Give me a badge and that badge gains me free stuffs and favor. I like a job with structure and defined rules. Not Sam, not Sam at all. Job allows me to use my scientific skills. There were no jobs like that in the city. I had a rather rebellious youth. It was either police force or jail time, huh? Hmm. I wanted to help people and make them feel safe. Join the force because I want to help people and make them feel safe. I am coming to realize that it isn't the uniform people respond to, so I act as a person. I didn't imagine that the worst crimes I would have to deal with would be vandalism and graffiti. Well, there was that time Mila Evans knocked her tennis ball through Jake Marshall's window, but that was all an accident. Still, it's nice to know that I'm reassuring someone. I grab up my goods coming out of my thoughts. Thanks for this. Need to get full out, leave the shop and attempt to transverse my way over the cobblestone once again. I'm just about to sip my drink when my phone buzzes. Verda's name lighted on the screen. With a sigh I put down my things, start the engine and make my way over a couple of blocks to the station. Back at the station. Morning, Douglas, I call as I push open the heavy glass door. Pleased to be back in the familiar setting of the station. It was once a factory too, but the insides have been completely refurbished into a bright modern work area. The walls made mostly of large windows, the workstations efficient but opened. The young officer sat behind the grey fox marble front desk of the station, scrambles to shove his cell phone into his pocket, but he only manages to drop it on the floor instead, where we both stare at the item that spins on its back before glowing to a stop. Douglas shifted his wide-eyed gaze at me, both of us realizing work had been far from his mind while he had been out. Until my lips in thought suddenly presented with how to deal with the mayor's son now that I'm in charge of the station. Oh boy. Okay, so the guy being the mayor's son will not help him having a good relationship with Sam. So no one upsets the mayor, and I'm not foolish enough to do it either. Gave Douglas back the phone. Hell no, she would never do that. Mayor's son or not still has to follow the rules. Take the phone. I'm not going to parent a kid. That's the mayor's job. Let him have the phone. I need to be able to rely on my own people, not to be distracted at work. Hold on to the phone. Okay, so if is there, this is the mayor's son, she probably sees him as, is this here because he's the mayor's son? The best thing to do is just let him be there at his desk, like a painting or a statue, or something decorative. So that would mainly be what she thinks of him at first, and considering he's playing on his cell phone, at best, she's not going to parent the kid. That's the mayor's job. For all she cares, he can shoot himself in the foot, quite literally. As long as he doesn't shoot anyone else, so. Let out a long drawn breath and begin moving towards the pathologist's lab. I watch his long bangs flick into his eyes as he watches me for a moment, the light blonde hair almost lost against his pale skin. Pick up the phone, kid. I close the pass, hearing Douglas please reply, and his footsteps as he scrambles to retrieve the object. As I push open the doors to the staircase which leads down to the basement lab, I wonder if how I dealt with Douglas was the right move. The all-powerful Mayor Friedman doesn't like any insult to his name. Douglas must be a real disappointment. Still, Douglas is kind enough. Just young, not great at actually remembering to focus on his work. I shake the thought away as the chill of the basement sinks into my skin. My gaze flashes over the no food ordering sign, nailed to the wall just a few feet from the lab. I grip my drink. Yeah, screw that rule. Keep hold of it, Sam's not parting with your coffee. It's either shake it down in one gulp or keep hold of it. He's not throwing it down. Nope. I keep walking past the sign, clutching my drink tighter. The warmth of it seeps into my fingers, and I'm glad I chose the warm beverage for visiting the chill lab. Though the pastry crumbs don't exactly look professional, so I brush them away quickly before moving on. I bump the heavy door open with one hip, passing into the clean room behind. White tiled walls shine all around, the shimmering silver machines dotted about the edges of the room not very welcoming. I don't know how you work down here, I say, spying Verda sat at his metal desk. At one corner, the slender short man isn't even wearing gloves, just a suit and a simple white medical coat. He turns and gives a grin, the expression making his dark brown eyes simmer even in the dull electric light. This is the first time I've really had to work, he says, running a hand over his styled brunette hair. This he always has highlighted, the color complementing his light brown skin. Mostly I just deal with the overflow of natural depths Dr. Turner can't manage. Let's scroll down a bit. Down. Oh, this is a big page, and I have another kitty deciding he wants attention. The mouse destroyer. Because he kept destroying my mouse. Mouses? Mice? I don't know. If it's computer, is it still mice or just mouses? Anyway, he stands from his chair and moves closer, his gaze shifting to the drink in my hands. You know you're not supposed to have that in here. I arch around my own focus, moving to the steaming mug of coffee on his desk. And neither are you. He smiles, his person right and full of cheer. I snap out of my thoughts, our attention back to the white sheet on the table. The woman's head and shoulders the only thing visible. You haven't started the autopsy yet? He shakes his head. No, but he purses his lips, a shadow of a goatee framing them. Found something you might need. He spins around, lifting an evidence bag off the nearby counter. Inside is a cell phone. They couldn't find this on her at the scene, I say, taking the bag and looking over it. It was in her boot. We both stare down at the woman, her skin now a great white, her lips so pale they seemed to have sunken back and disappeared. Let's see. We really need to find her identity so we can inform her family. We really need to find her identity so as I can find the killer. I hope the rest of the people in Wayhaven are safe. If I can solve this, my career will be off to a good start. So, not the last. Family, killer, everyone else safe. Sam likes action, so I might go with this one. Let's just save. Check out the stats. So intimidating, cautious. How is Sam cautious? Pff, more mine. Oh, she almost has no heart. She's a team player. She has some people investigation. Okay, bend the rules. Yes, that is all. Bend the rules. Whoa! I don't think this one makes that much sense. I think let's inform the family. The family might know. I don't know. I hope the rest of the people are safe. I hope the rest of the people in Wayhaven are safe. I see, rolling my lips together in worry. I don't like the idea of a killer wandering around our streets. Agreed, Verta replied, his shoulders shaking. I am glad to hear that it's a concern of yours. Most of the detectives in the city don't seem to care much for much except solving cases in order to add merit to their names. I half smile at him, appreciative of the compliment. There's not much I can tell you at the moment, Verda continues, though I did notice bruises around her wrists and ankles. She was tied down? I asked, the thought making my chest tight. So it would seem, his voice trails in obvious sympathy for the poor woman. A hand tightens around the cell phone. I bring it up to turn it on through the evidence bag. The phone flashes to life and I give a sigh of relief to find it's not been protected. Flicking through the call log, there are the usual names. Home, work, but then only a very few other numbers. The texts are pretty standard too, though. Again, very few of them. Sales didn't get out much, Verda says as he glances over the phone, too. Now, let's see. I can sympathize. I don't exactly had much of a social life in its job. Poor girl, she might have been less of a target if she wasn't so isolated. I can't blame her being that sociable is overrated. It's strange to think there are some who wouldn't want to go out more, people. Them is this. It's strange to think some don't want to go out there. Zane would be my other OC, Zane, that's his name. This one. And I have no idea which one would be. I hear maybe this one? I'll have to ask Scribbles. Scribbles, if you watch this, I want an answer. It's strange to think there are some who wouldn't want to go out more, people. I think it's strange there are people like that. To me, being that sociable is overrated. It's strange to think there are actually some out there who don't want to get out and know others, I say with a shrug. Further chuckles. Everyone is different, each to their own, as they say. I have to say, it's not exactly an easy thing sometimes. Never know what kind of work she did. She may not have had a chance. I smile, that's true. The conversation is halted as I go through the photos on her phone. A few catch my attention. Something wrong? Bird asks. No, it's just I stare at the pictures closer. They're blurred, as though taken in motion, but the stained walls and cracked metal bins are familiar. I recognize where these pictures were taken, and it seems to be the last photo she took. Do you think she managed to capture where she was murdered? Possibly, I reply, shutting off the phone and frowning. Looks like it's from the old ferry's warehouse at the edge of the town. Me and Punem had quite a few patrols there. It's falling to pieces, but the teenagers still insist on risking their necks by going in it. Ah, to be youthful once more, Verda says, to which I can help but laugh. Will you go over to the warehouse now? I'll do after I've done some paperwork. I reply, moving to the doorway and glancing back at him. Alone? I've got my radio if I need backup. I'm pretty sure Punom checked it out already the other day. I can't imagine some deranged mother is still hanging out in there. He frowns in concern. Be careful, detective. Hmm. You worried about me, Verda? I'm model of I am the model of careful. That's not Sam. Thanks for your concern, but I'll be fine. It's my job to do these things, safe or not. Sam would say you're worried about me, Verda, with a big grin and a bit of a mocking tone. Because that's just how she is. So, you worried about me, Verda? Yes, exactly as I wanted. You worried about me, Verda? I asked, throwing him a smirk. You're about the best person I've worked for, he replied with just as much of a smile. I don't fancy having to get used to someone new. My laughter echoes about the room as I make my way out, shaking my head and feeling much better than I have since finding out about this case. Okay, and so that was the end of the first chapter. I actually think I'm going to leave this here. So far this has been a nice game. A lot of descriptions. I wish I could write descriptions so well, but I am awful at them. It's just like the hair thing, for example. I describe it as blonde. She actually had three types of blonde. Oh my god. That's awesome. Kudos to you, writer. I'm really. This first chapter is very nice. Not for my usual character. I had to go with, well, almost my backup OC. But really enjoying it, and she's gonna love this game because there are vampires, and she loves vampires, the poor things. I feel for her safety, I really do. Anyway, this was the first chapter of Book 1 of Wayhaven Chronicles by Miska Jenkins. I'll leave the link in the description to both the game and the writer's Tumblr. So till next time, bye!